Alright, this is Sean for Strategic to Tactical. It's August 16th. I'm going to go over some of my, just some setups that I'm looking at going into next week, at least early of the week. Without further ado, let me go over some of them right now. So I don't really have too much going into Monday. Again, I'd like to see the market consolidate for a day or two, but again, I don't control the market, so I don't have that luxury to, so I need to be ready to see what's going on. But I think this is going to sort of potentially be my stock of the week, at least going into looking, I'll be watching this pretty closely. It's Tesla. So if we look at it, we had a pretty impressive run here over the last couple weeks. Kind of stalled out here on the 13th, and but that being said, if you look at this day right here, it could be a pretty ugly reversal day. It kind of broke these highs, and looks like oh, here we go, a nice reversal day, and really nothing really happened. It kind of just held itself in check here. So that tells me there's people or some big money coming in and bidding up in here, and definitely accumulating stock here. We had some volume tail off pretty good on Thursday and Friday, but that being said, I just don't see, there's not much selling going on in this stock at this time. Relative strength right at this time, Thursday and Friday, Thursday and Friday are pretty strong days, but for Tesla, kind of just holding in. So it's right now it's going from definitely very relatively strong to a little bit weak, but I still think that give it a couple days here in this area, and this thing might be looking pretty good if we go and take out these 265 and 265, 266 area. So if we look at the high here in February, it was exactly 265, and again, the market just penetrated it by half a point, and then kind of came off. But I think that's still pretty constructive, and I definitely look for potentially higher prices. If you want to cheat into this, you can buy above Friday's high, which 262 and change, and then basically use Friday's low as your stop, and then if they take that out, kind of expecting for them to go for these highs. So risk reward that you're risking 258 and roughly 258. So what is that, $4 or $5? And you kind of at that point looking, you're at least looking to go $10 plus, move higher. If they take out these highs, people that are short, this thing could get a good tear going into it, especially if the index follows suit and this thing has a tailwind to it. So we'll see how that goes out. Another one I think is looking pretty good as well as EXPE. If you look at it, it's right at really big highs here. Another very strong stock. So if, I'm looking to be buying above these above 86. Definitely strong, and in this vein, I think Priceline is sort of actually, unfortunately, Friday was a very crappy day for Priceline here. After that run on Monday, kind of expecting this thing to kind of stabilize above the 1300. Hasn't been able to do it. But Priceline, beats to its own drum from my experience. So I wouldn't put it past it to just reverse up here and be 1350 in a blink of an eye. But it's something to keep an eye on. There was very heavy volume on Friday that kind of took this down. Options expiration may have had something to do with it. But this would be something to monitor, in light of this EXPE. They sort of have some the same basic business, if you will. So So those are the two top ones, and I'm going to be looking at Tesla and Expedia. I'm going to go over some other setups that aren't maybe at that caliber going into the week, but just I'll go over them anyway. BIDU was one that I was looking at this past week. Didn't really do what I expected it to. Taking out these levels, it kind of just did. On Thursday, I had it. Maybe it looked really good for about 20 minutes, and then it just collapsed. And then even Friday was very low. Definitely not something that it went from an A+ setup to I'll just keep an eye on it, because usually something like this had a really strong gap up and kind of consolidated. It has a chance, but you know what, maybe it's just one of these things that it's just so far away from its moving averages, there's just nobody now left to want to really power this thing higher. So it could just be one of these, hey, I'm going to consolidate for the next couple months, and yeah, sure, maybe in 2-3 months it'll be much higher, but it's not going to be an overnight thing. So I'll keep an eye on it though. Another one that actually is First Solar. Solar space definitely had some life to it. CSIQ is one that came to mind that had a pretty good run last week. First Solar just been consolidating after this pretty impressive move here. So again, just something to keep an eye on here. If it trades above that 70.5, obviously there's definitely some overhead resistance here. So again, not an A+ setup, but something to keep an eye on for the week. Another one is Intel. Not your high beta name and whatnot, but I think again, I'd like to see in a day or two just kind of at this 34 level, and then breaking above this, make a run at new highs here. Something I'll keep a watch on for the week. Under Armour, another one. Had this big gap up earnings, consolidating. We'll see how this plays out. Just really, if it gets above that 70 level, maybe it makes a run and gets some momentum, but may need some more time to work going here sideways. On the short side, Green Mountain Coffee Roasters. Again, this is not my favorite stock to trade. I mean, you just look at it, look up, down. It's just real whippy. There's a lot of volume in it, but it's just a real whippy stock. Kind of had this run. It's kind of been consolidating, but yeah, it may be worth a shot to short it below rather 112 and change here. But definitely not an A+ setup, so be a little careful with that one. That's about it, really. Going into this week, some things I talked about last week is Twitter again. Sort of really can't get momentum. It's starting to turn and make a move, making higher highs, higher lows, but it's just painful intraday. Facebook as well. So just this real painful type of trade. So I guess for these, you really got to have a little bit longer time horizon. Hey, I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to put my stop right down here below 71.5. I actually have a small position in both of these that I just have these stops down here, because you just cannot watch this thing intraday. It's just too painful. So I'll keep an eye on those. That's it going into the beginning of the week. So have a great night. Thanks for watching.